Hello everyone, welcome to our session. We are the 180th Pacific Coast Scout Group Rovers from Metro Vancouver. Today, we are here to show you that it is possible to create a sustainable tomorrow for Scouts Canada if we start investing in Rover Scouts. In today's presentation, we'll be covering 4 topics. First, who we are and where this Rover crew came from. Second, the mentoring framework that our Rover crew uses. Third, how investing in Rover Scouts can impact the growth of Scouts Canada. And fourth, how your leadership team can implement it into your own Rover program. I would like to introduce to you some of the members of our Scout group who are here today. Scouter John Chow, he's the founder and head advisor for the 180th Pacific Coast Scout Group. He is also a member of the Board of Governors for Scouts Canada and a member of the Global Support Team for WISM. Scouter Brandon Ma is an advisor, our crew's past president, and the new Council Commissioner for the Pacific Coast Council. Scouter Nick Pearson is an advisor, a troop leader, and also the new Deputy Council Commissioner for Training for the Pacific Coast Council. Scouter Alex Dang is our group's treasurer, an advisor, and also the Assistant Area Commissioner for Rovers for the Pacific Spirit area. Scouter Pinky Au is our group administrator, an advisor, and also a troop leader. Scouter Darren Shum is an advisor, our past president, and a troop leader. Rover Ellie Chan is our crew's vice president and department head for human resources, and she's also a cub leader. Rover Elaine Au is the department head for information systems. And last but not least, my name is Karina Lee. I was the elected Rover president for the 180th Pacific Coast Scout Group. Prior to my presidency, I was a beaver leader and a troop leader. Many of you might wonder, where did this 180th Pacific Coast Scout Group come from? Well, this Rover crew began 8 years ago when Scouter John Chow was the Council Commissioner for the Pacific Coast Council. He looked at who was volunteering for the council, and he noticed there was a significant amount of leaders who were ages 45 and older, and an insignificant amount of younger leaders. So Scouter John wondered, if our organization's role is to develop young people into leaders for today and tomorrow, how come there were no young leaders volunteering in our council? Where have all the youth in our senior sections gone to? It was then the dream to start a council-wide Rover crew began. Scouter John teamed up with a few Rover champions and started a Rover crew whose primary focus was to help Scouts Canada develop youth leaders and to grow Scouts Canada. Over the past 8 years, we've experienced tremendous growth, from a couple of members to now over 150 members, and developing many young and new leaders for our organization and our country. It's been quite a ride to see our vision become a reality, but we aren't at the finish line yet. This is just the start of something awesome. We are very excited to be presenting in front of Scouts Canada's leaders today, and as a Rover crew, we are here to share with you what we've learned so we can grow together as one Scouts Canada. Before we dive deeper into our presentation, I want to give you some context as to what a from our Rover crew would experience. So within the 180th, our Rovers manage and operate 3 Scout groups in 3 different areas of our council. We do this because we believe these Scout groups can offer a safe environment for our Rovers to experience Scouting and to gain the leadership skills they need in order to be Scouters. As a statistic, about 80% of the leaders in these Scout groups are also Rovers from the 180th, and the 3 group commissioners are also advisors and alumni of our Rover crew. As a Rover crew, we would set membership targets with these groups at the beginning of the year, and we would track their progress month after month, and at the end of the year, all 3 Scout groups would present a report card to our Rover crew. We also provide training and workshop opportunities that focus on the personal development of our members and pertain to the needs of our Rovers. We feel that as young adults, we need the mentoring and the coaching from someone more senior to help us sharpen our skills for adulthood, whether it's for work or school and even the outdoors. Along with volunteering as Scout leaders, we also volunteer externally. Here are some of the projects we've done over the past few years. We've made renovations to brighten up a garden and communal area of a senior's home. We've made many visits to Salvation Army Soup Kitchen, and we also support our local Kinsman Club to support other local nonprofit organizations. These are just some of the projects that our Rovers have completed. We've learned over the past few years that just by doing projects is not enough. We must supplement it with an additional type of learning framework.
In this section, Elaine and I will be sharing with you how we do mentoring in our Scout group. Actually, our mentorship program did not exist from the start of this group. In the first couple of years of running the crew, we did a lot of projects and gained a lot of valuable hands-on experience. But we noticed that something was missing from our learning experience. We felt that our rate of learning by just doing was too slow. We tried different tools to see if we could enhance the learning experience, and one of the tools that we tried was the 360 review. The idea was to get feedback from a variety of people that we work with, including our peers and those who have worked above and below us. We wanted to know how well we're doing within our teams and where we can improve on. But still, something was missing. Even if we knew what we wanted to improve on, we didn't have a system that helps us to work on these things consciously. Also, we wanted a mentor to guide us. We wanted to be accountable for our actions. What we needed was a personalized plan to work on the things that we were not great at. And this is how our mentorship program was born. Since then, we have evaluated our program along the way and made tweaks to make the program work for our group. And to this date, we're still building on it, making it better and more relevant to our Rovers' needs. From the beginning, we knew that the key to this mentorship program is to ensure that every Rover is paired with a mentor.
So it was mentioned earlier that there is this need for a mentor, but what does it actually mean to be a mentor? Well, a mentor is all these things: a motivator, a supporter, a resource, and a coach. They're here to encourage us to try new things. They're here to introduce us to new people, places, and ideas. And they're here to help us develop and work towards our goals. But for me, the role that has resonated with me is being a motivator. I'm usually a very doubtful person, and I always use fear as a reason to not try new things. But my mentor, she is the reason why I tried many new things in the last 2 years. And she is the reason why I took the opportunity to work in Ottawa for 8 months, while still being a full-time Rover in our program. We want to share with you the mentorship program that we have in our Rover program today. As noted before, we have made tweaks along the way, but there have been 5 pillars that have stuck throughout. They include using a holistic approach, finding the sweet spot, effective goal setting, accountability, and our annual cycle.
When we are working with a mentee, as a mentor, we must take a holistic view of what is happening with the mentee's life before narrowing down on an issue. I have a mentee who's not doing very well in school lately. Intuitively, I might think he's probably behind in his readings, procrastinating for his exams, or needs to take better notes. But when I took the time to understand the mentee holistically, getting to know what is happening with him, his part-time job, his friends, his extracurricular activities, and such, we were able to identify the link between the cause and the effect of things that is happening in his life. For this mentee, it turns out he recently broke up with his girlfriend. What he needed help on was not his schoolwork. If we ignored all other aspects of what is happening, we might have made the mistake and focused on the wrong issue. One of the tricks to understanding a mentee holistically is to ask open-ended questions. This will give the mentee the opportunity to be the driver of the discussion and focus on what is important to them. I remember on a recent conversation with my mentee, I simply asked her, "What is on your mind?" The conversation rolled, and it turned out she had to attend a wedding and was struggling to come up with a maid of honor speech. She was worried about speaking in front of others, and this was what was most important to her at that moment. Often, through these open-ended questions, we can gather a wide range of information. We can understand what they want, what they need help on, and where they want to get to.
Like any other volunteer organization, everyone gets paid the same, which is essentially nothing. But what makes a person stay is when they find value in what they do in the program. That is why we emphasize so much on what we call the sweet spot. This is essentially the intersection of what is important to the mentee and what is important to their organization. When we focus our mentoring discussions towards finding their sweet spot, we can then find opportunities in our Rover program where they are willing to invest their time in. The importance of goal setting is mentioned a lot in youth programs, but through our experience, we are here to emphasize the importance of written goals. In a Harvard study, they surveyed a group of students to see the correlation between goal setting and annual income. The first group, who did not have any goals at all, earned an average of $20,000 annually. With the second group, who had goals but did not write them down, earned an average of $40,000 annually. And the third group, who not only had goals but also wrote them down, earned a whopping $600,000 annually. This is 10 times the combined income of both the first and the second group. Of course, simply having written goals does not guarantee success, but we are more likely to be successful because just the action of writing it down is the next level of commitment. And when you track it, that's what leads you to success.
We understand that writing goals down is important, but it is equally important that we articulate the goals smartly. For some mentees, their goals are so vague that they do not know what the next steps are. By using SMART goals, the mentees can break down their big goal into smaller pieces, and with clear objectives and action, they know what they need to work on. Now they can focus their efforts, track their progress, and determine their success. And with this, the mentees can believe that they can achieve any goals that they have. In our Scout group, at the end of every mentorship session, the mentor and mentee will work on a document called the Personal Development Plan, PDP for short. This document contains 3 parts. First, we have What's on my plate? Basically, this is the holistic view of the mentee. Second, we have relevant discussions that the mentor and mentee might have during the mentorship session. Third, we have SMART goals. Sometimes after a mentorship session, the mentor and mentee might walk away with 2 different understandings of what they talked about. And by documenting it, it is a way of confirming what you discussed and what the mentee agreed to do. Remember, this is a mentee's PDP, not the mentor's PDP. Therefore, the mentees should be the ones recording their goals, and they must understand that they are accountable for their own goals. This document will be the guide for the mentee for the next couple of months, or even for the year, and this document will be referred back to later on. As mentors, we hold the mentees accountable for what they are committed to do. For some mentees, they need constant reminders, but for some, they just need some motivation. Remember, a mentor is a motivator, a resource, a supporter, and a coach for the mentees. We guide them to where they want to get to. I have also encouraged my mentees to share their goals with other people. If I told you that I will be completing a 10-kilometer run in January next year, some of you might come and ask if I'm practicing, or whether I've signed up for this 10-kilometer run or not. Or some of you might join me on this run together. By sharing my goal with you, this will increase the chance of me achieving this goal.
In our Rover program, every mentor and mentee pair meets formally 3 times a year. In all 3 of these sessions, they talk about what's on the mentee's mind, they check in on the progress on the goals that they set previously, and evaluate to see if these goals are even relevant anymore. With 120 Rovers in our program, this means that we have 120 personalized programs running at the same time. This is basically one of the 4 elements of the Canadian path: plan, do, review. You plan out what you want to do for the year. You do the things that you set out on doing, then you review it. What worked and what didn't, and what you can improve on. And the cycle repeats. In addition to the 3 formal sessions, many of our mentor and mentee pairs check in on a regular basis. For me, my mentor and I have built this trust so that I can reach out to her whenever I need someone to talk to. Whether it be a quick text or a quick phone call, many of our discussions are not about the goals that I'm currently working on. Instead, it's an opportunity for me to talk about what's been on my mind lately. When you keep this consistent cycle and apply the concepts of using the holistic approach, effective goal setting, and always trying to find their sweet spot, there are many positive impacts on the mentee. Some of them including increasing their self-confidence and self-awareness, widening their perspective, and developing an overall healthy outlook on life. When you pair a mentorship program with rovering, this impact then extends beyond just the mentee and expands to the rest of the organization. In rovering, we emphasize on paddling your own canoe. With the mentorship program, our rovers get the opportunity to discover what that path is. And with the rover program, it provides a safe environment for the rover to work towards that path. When our rovers are more confident in the direction they're heading towards, they begin to associate their experience in our program as positive and beneficial. They then begin to share their experiences with their friends and even invite them to join our program. This right here has been key to bringing us to where we are today.
What we've learned is that with a program that focuses on growth and leadership development, we were able to staff scout groups with young people who are keen and willing to work with each other to contribute to the success of scouting. And what we wanted to show through our presentation is that the Canadian path is scalable. I have personally seen it work for a rover crew of 30, 60, 90, and 150. Now, we didn't always start with 150 members, and I certainly hope that's not a surprise to anyone. But back then, we did everything together. We went to universities, set up recruitment booths, hoped to find students who are willing to join the scouting movement. We would have car washes and yard sales to fundraise, and we would brainstorm, plan projects together. And in fact, when Scouter John first met with our rovers, he asked, "What is it that you want to do?" And the collective answer was, "We want to travel." And from that conversation spawned one of our most sought-after programs that we offer, our International Service Project, affectionately known as iProj. iProj offers our members a unique opportunity to travel to places in the world where scouting is practiced. Not only do they get to visit new places, but they also get to network with scouts from all over the world. So far, we've been on 4 iProjes. The first to China, with a side trip to Japan. Second to the Philippines. The third to China again, but in a different part of the country. And our most recent 4th trip to Mexico. And our upcoming trip is in May of 2015, where we will be going to Malaysia and Singapore. But the point I wanted to get to is that our first iProj to China was first imagined, planned, and executed by a group of 15 rovers. Back then, we only had 4 mentors, most of which were older rovers. As our crew would grow larger, we needed to do things a little differently. We would add more mentors because we had more rovers as mentees. Then we would add departments that would focus and be responsible for particular functions. For example, department for recruitment and a department for fundraising. Every year we do things a little differently to achieve our rovers' needs. The fact that we do things different every year is what keeps our program fun and exciting for our rovers. Along the way of our growth, some may have asked, why grow to 150? Our answer is simple. It's not the 150 that matters to us. What matters to us are the challenges along the way, and that we learn to manage people in different circumstances, much like in the real world. Membership growth is just our best measure of success. If we are proud of what we do and we share it with the world, people will join us. It's not the summit that matters, it's a personal journey. Here's a photo of our Rover crew. This was taken about a month back when we celebrated reaching our milestone of having 150 active members. This crew has 120 Rovers, obviously between the ages of 18 and 26, and 30 advisors. In the last year, we've grown 42% with a retention rate of 92%. We always strive to retain at least 85% of our members every year. And remember, this is a Rover crew where members may leave for school or for work. Our program is designed to attract Rovers for their development, and we don't force them to be a leader in a youth section. But the funny thing is, most of them want to. What's interesting is that 70% of our members did not grow up through the program. Most of us were introduced to scouting through the Bring a Friend initiative. Also, 60% of our crew volunteer in scout groups and other levels of the organization. To date, we developed members who are council commissioner, deputy council commissioner, area commissioners, assistant area commissioners, group commissioners, and that's on top of all the new leaders that we've put into the scouting movement. Since our program focuses on the Rover, their growth, and their development, we found that we attract young people who are willing to contribute to the success of Scouts Canada.
So you're probably wondering, why are we telling you all this? With the mentorship program and talking about all the successes that we've had, as a Key 3 member, you probably have this one question in your head. So what? Remember, the title of our presentation is The Path for a Sustainable Tomorrow Starts with Rover Scouts. What if I tell you that Rovers, like myself, can impact an organization? What if Rovers can benefit Scouts Canada as a whole? So let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture of things. Our vision for 180th is to increase membership. But we're not just growing, just for the sake of growing. And we are not trying to recruit as many youth as we can, from Beavers all the way to Rovers. We are doing something else. Let me start off by telling everyone a story. I am a cub leader. Like many of you here, I get to see my cubs grow up in the pack. And you know and I know, they learn a lot each year, because why else would they want to continue coming back to our group meetings every week? When they finally get to jump up to the troop section, we see how happy they are and we feel so excited for them. Nowadays though, I visit the troop section and what I find is the excitement is gone. And in fact, I'm shocked. Why is that? Because where's Allison? Where's Nelson? Where's Sandy? They're not there anymore. And in fact, it's only Oscar and Natalie left. Does that sound familiar to you? The numbers are even less in the venture companies. We should really consider and wonder whether Scouts Canada has become a cub or a beaver organization with just some scouts. It's not Scouts Canada anymore. Is it Cubs Canada? By the time we reach my section, Rovers, is shocking because we're almost non-existent on the Canadian front. I've dug up some numbers from last year, and we can really see what's happening not only in my scout group, but in all of Canada. We have 18,000 beavers, 22,000 cubs, but then just 15,000 scouts and 6,000 venturers, and finally, just the 1,000 rovers. To put it in another perspective, imagine we have a village of 100 youth members in Scouts Canada. That means in all of 100, we only have that one rover in the entire village. The key point is this: we are losing members as they move up and grow up through the program. Now, let's go back to that vision that I've mentioned before. It's not only the 180th, but Scouts Canada also needs to increase membership. Why? Here are the statistics of Scouts Canada's membership from 1990 until now. With this downward trend, we can really see that we've been losing members for a pretty long time now. As of August 31st of this year, we've lost 2/3 of the members we had 23 years ago. That's 120,000 members gone and exited the movement. We've always said that we are the largest youth organization in all of Canada, but will we be for long? What we have realized is that many scout groups that are out there are actually parent-led. What that means is when the parents get their kids to join scouts, they end up also sticking around and becoming leaders for them. But over time, as these youth members, these kids move up in the program, they end up leaving the organization. And in turn, their parents also leave. And as a result, our leaders also exit the program. What if we tell you that the 180th has this really cool idea for a new growth strategy? What if we decide to focus our resources into developing leaders in our senior sections? What we found was that many successful scout groups out there are not actually parent-led. They are actually youth-led by our youth leaders, by our venturers, and our rovers. When I first joined Scouts, I thought that this was a leadership program. But where are all our youth leaders nowadays? Where have they gone? Have we lost them along the way? How do we become sustainable as an organization now? The key answer is this: we need to put resources into the right places, and these resources are our advisors. A common pitfall within scouting is that we always used to believe in this old model of thinking. As the youth move up in the program, the involvement of the leader decreases. And that means the advisors of our venturers and our rovers have lower levels of involvement than those leaders in their younger sections. But on the contrary, from my personal experience, that is not true. Because at this critical point of their lives, venturers and rovers are in need, and they want advisors who act as their mentors to support them and guide them along in the scouting program. At this point, it is not only within, but rovers are also pursuing individual goals outside of scouting, and that is why they also need advisors. In a more general sense, the decrease in membership is not because we are short of youth, we are short of leaders. And that is the main message we hope to drive home today. If there are no advisors, there are no rovers. With no rovers, there are no venturers. No venturers, then there are no scouts. And you get the picture. Many scout groups out there have waiting lists for youth to join in the beavers and the cub sections. And that's great. We have waiting lists. We have youth wanting to join the scouting movement. But they can't, because we are not short of youth. We are short of leaders. But this is all the past now. It's time to look towards the future, the possibilities. We are now given the opportunity to revitalize Scouting by putting the resources into the right places, our senior sections, which are our Ventures and our Rovers. It's time that we make Scouts Canada a sustainable organization by focusing on both leadership support and development and membership growth in our senior sections. What exactly is the 180th doing to address these 2 points? Well, we took the plunge for everyone here. We took the risks and we adapted to change. We believe in building a strong Rover program to keep our members engaged, because this is not only attractive to those within Scouting, but also beyond. And in fact, 70% of our members did not grow up in Scouting, but they still choose to stay, resulting in over 90% of a retention rate from last year in 180th. And how exactly do we do that? Our practice of goal setting and our mentorship program have allowed our members to realize that Scouting is not merely developing leaders for Scouts. We are engaged, passionate, and motivated. We are motivated to not develop ourselves as leaders just for Scouts, but also for today and for tomorrow, and for the world. And hey, guess what? This has always been Scouts Canada's mission: to help develop well-rounded youth better prepared for success in the world. So why don't we all act on this? Let's make Scouts Canada a sustainable organization by focusing on leadership support and development and membership growth. What exactly is sustainable growth again? We want to build an enduring organization by building a strong Scouting program, and specifically a strong Rover program. Again, we can't just wait for our beavers and our cubs to grow up in the Scouting program, because that takes a while and we need to take action now. That's why we need the support from our advisors and our mentors. It is not only our mentorship program that we bring to the organization, impacting Scouts Canada as a whole. Scouts Canada needs leaders, and we do our very best by doing so, by connecting with 16 other Scout groups outside of the 180th. 60% of our Rovers are youth leaders. And for example, I am not only a Rover, but I am also a Cub leader, a youth leader, a Scout leader, a community leader. No matter what you choose to call yourself as a leader, and no matter what age you are, how old or how young you are, everyone here can be this key leader for change. There is a saying that people vote with their feet. If you're all here today listening to this presentation that we made at the national conference, if you are here to stay in Scouts, and if you are all here to help contribute to the Scouting movement, then you are all already on the right track of doing something right, something great for Scouts Canada. I hope that we have provided you with a compelling reason for why we believe that perhaps you may want to take our growth strategy, this cool idea that we have, to bring back to your own Scout groups. Provide them with enough resources, the right mentors and advisors, to then create an attractive and a strong Rover program. This is crucial to sustain and improve membership growth in all of Scouts Canada. If you're wondering now, what are exactly the steps that you need to take in order to run a more vibrant and a stronger Scouts Canada organization? Then here are our next steps.
So I know you're excited because now change is coming. So what do you do with all this information? We don't expect you to be experts overnight. And we can't profess to be experts either 8 years ago. And we still don't call ourselves experts, as we're always continuously learning. Now I want to flip it back to what Pinky and Elaine were saying earlier about the holistic approach. It's about going to that deeper level. Let me explain. Mentorship is a long-term game. You won't get results in a month. You won't get it in 3 or 6. It may even take a year. It's about getting down past that superficial layer that's important. And from there, you will get your mentees' trust and they will open up to you. So how do you start? You need to find your leaders. But I'll tell you what, that's really easy because every single one of you here today are champions. And you can find more champions at home. You guys have a meeting and figure out what will be your program and mentorship goals. Let me flip it back again to what Pinky and Elaine were saying about goal setting. $600,000. But it's not the dollars that mean anything. It means success. And with that, I would like to encourage us to be those 3% who reach the mountaintop. So now that you have your champions, create that vision. Create that path on where you want to go. But if you ask me, well, Alex, why don't you just give us your vision? And we'll copy it. We'll do it. And what I will tell you is that I don't think that's the right idea because you need to have that vision and path for your own group. That vision and path to grow your own group and to grow Scouts Canada. So now that you've figured out your vision, bring this to your group. Talk to them. And explain to them why we're moving to this mentorship program. Tell them the benefits and open it up to the floor for questions. Ask them what they would like to see. What would they want to do? And I guarantee you, they will let you know. One suggestion. When you're finding mentors, you might want to give them roughly 3 mentees to one of you. And it would also depend on their experience. Particularly if they're a senior rover, you may only want to have them take on 1 mentee and assign them 1 co-mentor who is much more experienced than they are. I would like to also fit a little piece about retention. Pinky, Darren, Nick, and myself have all gone through the program, are now past the age of 26, but we're still here today. I'm happy to say that Scouter John is my mentor today still. He is still guiding us along our paths and has our best interests in mind. We say because we are still learning, and that is only one of many reasons. So, checklist. We have champions. Check. We have a vision. Check. We have mentors. Check. And we have mentees who are ready for personal development plans. Check. So guess what? You're ready to have one-on-one mentoring sessions. So what really happens in mentoring sessions? Well, anything goes. But what I will tell you is that find their sweet spot. Find out who they are. Find out their dreams and aspirations. And couple that with a personal development plan template. And you will create that thing that they want the most, which is to become a better person. To become a better version of themselves. And lastly, I'd like to inspire action. If you don't do anything with this, we may not be sustainable as an organization. It's great that we have these mentorship programs and these personal development plans. But if they are not measured, and we don't hold our mentees accountable to them, then all of this will have been for nothing. For us at 180th, mentoring is an integral part of our program. It excites and scares us at the same time. It's a document that takes a snapshot of who we are and what we want that gets measured by our mentor. PDPs are personalized programs for our rovers. So now that you have some ideas and tools to bring mentoring to groups, what about areas and councils?
Thank you, Alex. All the commissioners, it's our turn. At this point, you may be thinking to yourself, I don't work directly with rovers. How can I support them? Here's some guidance. Just like nuclear power, no critical mass, no nuclear fusion. This is non-negotiable. Same with rovers. If you have less than 25 rovers in a crew, it doesn't have the critical mass of energy, opportunity, and people to perpetuate itself, nor can the program fully come to life. Doesn't mean it's futile with less. We started with one, just it doesn't have critical mass. Let's talk some practical ways to achieve this. Number 1. We went down this path by starting a council-wide crew that brought together rovers. Wasn't every rover, just the ones that wanted to join. We knew that groups wouldn't share their rovers lightly, so we have a rule that rovers can't leave their existing crews to join ours. The same environment could also be achieved by, number 2, pairing smaller crews, or number 3, building new geographical crews where rovers can join beyond group borders. You can go to My Scouts and print off a list of the entire membership of your council, and then filter by rover age. You'll find more. Rovers tend to hide. A crew of 5 is not in the best interest of the youth. If everyone was aligned for what's best for the youth, they'd want for them a well-functioning crew delivering a rover program. Too often those crews of 3 to 5 are just conscript scouters. Number 4. Plug all your leaks. Bring up a list of all your venture companies and go down that list and ensure each and every company knows which crews to direct its youth to. A lot of ventures don't have a crew to go to, so they just disappear. Next, identify companies with a pack of senior ventures that are ready to go up and start a crew. Get them ready to start that and sign up your advisors today. These are not the only ways, and ultimately it's your choice on how you approach it. The second item to deliver, champions. There are many rovers and rovers here today, but not necessarily from your councils or area. Your role is to share your vision of rovers and either be the champion or recruit your champions. When you share the vision, talk about the why to see our scouting mission come to its fruition. Third item to deliver, mentors. We, the support structure, can find individuals able and willing to mentor our rovers. By no means does this mean full-time advisors. You'll be surprised how many service scouters are willing to do this. Fourth and final item to deliver, interesting real-world challenges. Find projects that match the sweet spot of rovers. These can be challenges and opportunities your council faces. At the end of the day, it's up to the rover to decide what challenges to take. Buy-in and commitment are key. Youth-led. Recap. If you want to create the environment for rovers to grow, you'll need a critical mass of them in a crew, 25, a champion to bring in energy and focus, find mentors to reinforce the development, and give real-world challenges for the energy to be directed at. Ellie, take us home.
Well, this is essentially our story. We are so happy to be here at this national conference to share with everyone what our message is. 7 of us out of the 9 here have paid our own trip to come here to this conference. And this shows how committed we are. We are committed to let you know that the 180th grew through continuous learning by doing, trying new things, taking those risks, and adapting to change. We did not grow just for the sake of growing. The measure of our success as a scout group is our membership growth and our retention. Just imagine, just think, and what if? What if we decide to concentrate on our resources into the right places? Our senior sections, ventures, and our rovers. What if we decide to have the mentors there to guide our Venturers and our Rovers, our youth leaders along our Canadian path to success. What if we can grow Scouts Canada? These things are all doable, and this has been our strategy in the 180th to how to then impact Scouts Canada as an organization. Lord Baden-Powell always said to leave the world a little better than we found it. So I hope that we all can get everyone on board. We need the critical mass to make this happen because on behalf of 180th, we are sure that together we can grow one Scouts Canada. Thank you.